What if everything you've ever believed about where you are right now, not just your planet, not just your galaxy, but the entire universe you assume surrounds you, is wrong? What if the most powerful telescope in human history was built to reveal our origins, and instead found something that suggests we have no idea where our origins actually are? A Nobel Prize-winning physicist has broken his silence, and the message is not a correction or a refinement of existing science. It is a demolition. The James Webb Space Telescope was launched in December 2021 at a cost of $10 billion. Its gold-plated mirrors, stretching 6.5 meters across, were engineered to capture the first light of the cosmos, photons that had been traveling since the universe was less than 400 million years old. Scientists expected to confirm what they already believed. What they found instead is collapsing the framework they spent decades building. In a patch of sky smaller than a grain of sand held at arm's length, Webb captured what initially looked like an ordinary smear of light. It wasn't. Astronomers at the University of Texas and the Cosmic Dawn Center in Copenhagen confirmed it as JADE's GSZ 14-0, the most distant galaxy ever detected, existing just 290 million years after the Big Bang. Think about that. Not 290 million years ago. 290 million years after the supposed birth of everything. And it was already enormous. Already blazing. Already old. That is not supposed to be possible. Every cosmological model we have built over the past century agrees on one thing. The early universe was chaos. Hydrogen, helium, a scattering of lithium. Gravity needed hundreds of millions of years to pull that matter into the first stars, and more time still to forge those stars into galaxies. There was no shortcut. Physics didn't allow one. And yet Webb is not showing us one impossible galaxy. It has now catalogued dozens, each one a direct contradiction of the timeline we were sure we understood. And here is where the terror begins to sharpen into focus. The terrifying part is not that these galaxies exist too early. The terrifying part is what they're made of. Normal galaxies convert roughly 10% of their available gas into stars over billions of years. Webb identified at least 3 galaxies in the early universe that had converted 100% of their gas into stars. No reservoir left. No raw material remaining. Just pure, impossible stellar light burning at full intensity before our models say the ingredients even existed. A team at the University of Edinburgh, publishing in Nature in 2023, described these objects as outrageously massive. That is not casual hyperbole. That is peer-reviewed language, forced out of scientists who had no other words. We are still in the earliest phase of Webb's data release. The full archive hasn't been processed. What you're confronting right now represents a fraction of what the telescope has already seen. To understand why this fractures something deeper than astronomy, you need to think about the Hubble sphere, the boundary beyond which space expands faster than light itself travels. Common logic says nothing beyond that boundary should be visible to us. The universe beyond it races away faster than its own light can reach us. And yet Webb is detecting signals from regions that should sit beyond that threshold. Light that, by every equation we trust, should never have arrived. It arrived anyway. No one has a clean explanation. Not yet. Some of the most respected voices in theoretical physics are now openly questioning not the details of the Big Bang, but the Big Bang itself. Roger Penrose, a Nobel laureate in physics, has long argued for a model called conformal cyclic cosmology, the idea that our universe is not the first, and not the last, but one pulse in an endless sequence. Webb's data is not proving him right, but it is making it significantly harder to prove him wrong. When your best models cannot account for what a telescope is actually showing you, that is not a gap in knowledge. That is a fracture in the foundation. And the fractures are multiplying. Webb's instruments, while mapping the deep background of the cosmos, detected something that has not been formally published in a major journal, not because scientists dismissed it, but because no one knows how to categorize it yet. A faint, rhythmic oscillation in the noise floor of the universe. Not a pulsar. Not gravitational wave interference. Not a distortion in the cosmic microwave background. A repeating frequency, precise in its intervals, consistent across multiple observation windows. Some astrophysicists have quietly begun referring to it as a signal outside the known source catalog. The chilling part is not that it repeats. The chilling part is that it follows a mathematical structure. Randomness doesn't do that. Noise doesn't do that. Something is generating that pattern. We do not know what. Simultaneously, Webb's gravitational lensing data is exposing something that disturbs physicists at a structural level. Galaxies at extreme distances are bending light, warping spacetime, and affecting surrounding structures with gravitational force that exceeds what their visible matter could possibly produce. This is not simply dark matter. That explanation has already been stretched past its limits trying to account for these readings. What researchers are now confronting looks more like gravitational influence bleeding through from a source that does not exist inside our observable universe. Phantom mass. Pressure on spacetime from somewhere we cannot see. The universe is being pushed. Something is doing the pushing. And it is not here. This is only the preliminary dataset. Webb's deep field programs are still running. A fringe theory is no longer fringe. The hypothesis of a mirror universe, a cosmos where time flows in reverse relative to ours and physical laws operate as a reflection, was for decades considered untestable speculation. Webb may have changed that. Rotational asymmetries detected in distant galaxy clusters, particle interaction patterns that contradict expected symmetry, structural behaviors that only make coherent sense if you assume two overlapping cosmological systems. These findings are pushing theorists back toward the mirror model. Not because it's comfortable. Because nothing else fits. If two universes are entangled, if our spacetime is pressed against another running in reverse, then every fundamental assumption we hold about causality, about time's direction, about what before and after even mean, requires reconstruction. Then came the echo. Webb's long-range photometric instruments were tracking a light signature from the observable edge, a source expected to fade as expansion carried it beyond detection range. It faded. Then it returned. Same spectral fingerprint. Different direction. Different arrival time. The light had gone somewhere and come back, carrying the same identity it left with. Two explanations exist, and neither is comforting. Either space is finite and closed, meaning the universe loops back on itself and light can circumnavigate it, or that light struck something at the edge. Something reflective. Something present where nothing should be. Webb was built to show us where we came from. Instead, it may be showing us what we are surrounded by, what presses against the outer skin of our reality, silent and enormous and indifferent to the fact that we've finally become precise enough to notice it. The impossible galaxies were just the first sign. The phantom mass fields, the rhythmic oscillation, the mirrored rotational patterns, the echo that returned from the edge, each one alone could be an anomaly, a calibration artifact, a gap in a model that just needs updating. But together, they point in the same direction. Towards something older than our universe, larger than our universe, something that our universe may be embedded within like a cell inside an organism that has never noticed us. A Nobel Prize-winning physicist told us, this is not our universe. And the beautiful horror of what Webb is revealing is that beauty itself is no longer reassuring. Those glowing impossibilities at the edge of everything, they are gorgeous. They are precise. They are structured. And that precision is exactly what makes them so deeply unsettling. Because structure implies origin. And if these things have an origin, it is not the same origin we have. So the question that Webb has handed us is not whether we are alone. It is whether we are even located where we thought we were. Subscribe and stay close, because the telescope is still running, the data is still arriving, and whatever is out there just made itself impossible to ignore.